Good morning and welcome to the Daily Cyber Briefing for Tuesday the 26th of November. I'm Stephen Ridgway. Dell Wise Management Suite has got vulnerabilities that allow attackers to exploit systems remotely, or remotely exploit systems. So Dell has released a security update for its Wise Management Suite. So the Wise Management Suite is a flexible, what they're describing here is a flexible hybrid cloud solution that empowers IT admin to securely manage Dell client devices from anywhere. So it's got a remote admin for Dell devices. However, the vulnerabilities have been identified in version 4.4 and earlier. There are 4 that have pretty much hit the news. CV 2024-7553, which is a third-party component vulnerability affecting MongoDB. There is so 2024, they're all 2024, so 49595 authentication bypass by capture replay. 49597 improper restriction of excessive authentication attempts, and 49596 missing authorization. So the remediated versions are so aim for 4.4.1 or later. Patches were released yesterday. As always, if you're not in a position to patch immediately, do a business risk assessment on not patching, and just make sure that you have mitigating controls in place, because as always, now that stuff's hit the mainstream media, all sorts of nefarious types are going to be all over it. So I saw well, not this article, but I saw the what this article is referring to yesterday. Nearly didn't speak about it, but decided actually probably is worth talking about it. Malware turns trusted Avast driver into a weapon. Right, okay. So the trusted Avast driver turns out to be an old anti-rootkit driver known as ASW ARPOT.sys. And given the nature of these things, rootkit drivers tend to be plugged in quite deep into the system, which the issue being, if you get deep enough into the system, if you get sort of down at those levels that the kernel is beginning to, you're getting pretty close to the kernel, so kernel mode drivers, they have the ability to bypass a whole load of stuff which runs in sort of user space above that. And this is the issue. Now, the malware that's exploiting this is being tracked as kill-flaw.exe, and it drops a legitimate Avast anti-rootkit driver into a hidden directory. Now, the issue here is that the driver is old and has vulnerabilities in it that can be exploited. So this is a kind of, it's a variation on the bring your own vulnerable. Yes, it kind of is a bring your own vulnerable driver. type attack. So there's a good write-up in Information Security Buzz about how this works. But because the rootkit operates at a kernel level, if it's been compromised by the malware, it provides unrestricted access to what is described as vital operating system components. So let's define that as pretty much anything that anybody would want to do on the device. There are so kind of limited things that you can do in order to defend against this sort of stuff, because it's using something legitimate but out of date. What I would recommend, and I think the author of this article also recommends, is enhancing or improving detection strategies, and looking for ways in which to monitor and block the use of outdated or vulnerable drivers. So it's one to be aware of if you are using or have used in the past Avast. Be aware that this is going on. In the meantime, try to keep on top of monitoring of the addition of executables or drivers to a system, because obviously, even if you can't use that as the indicator that an attack is in progress, because executables can be written to by all sorts of legitimate reasons, being able to go back and actually realize what's going on is really important. So at the very least, put it into that category of we'll log this because we might need to come back to it later. And then finally from me this morning, article in Bleeping Computer. It comes out of America, but it's an issue that we have seen. Actually, we've seen increasingly over the last couple of months. This is talking about a man in Kansas who has been prosecuted for hacking into computer networks and then using that access to promote his own cybersecurity services. So the generic issue is people finding methods of compromising an organization, and then instead of the usual, deploying the usual sort of ransomware, the ransom that they come up with is literally, I know how to break this stuff, pay me and I'll fix it for you. Or, aren't I really clever? You need me as your cybersecurity. Why the hell would you employ or give a contract to somebody who had unbidden and illegally compromised your systems? What level of moron thinks that then will result in you getting paid to do the job to fix it? So I don't think this is a methodology that is anything other than idiotic, apart from being illegal. I suppose it's both illegal and idiotic. However, we're seeing quite a lot of it. Being who we are, we get people attempting to say, "Oh, we can do this, we can do that." It's like, well, we always look into these things. Nobody has yet in this arena come up with anything which was anything that was other than utterly trivial and quite easy to fix and well within our own risk profile. Maybe somebody will at some point, but it's like every organization needs to be vigilant about this stuff. You can never assume that a past lack of compromise is an indicator of future lack of compromise. But we're also seeing this from customer organizations, and we're seeing people coming to us via our DFIR offering, saying that, they need help dealing with this sort of stuff, even people that we never dealt with before. So look, if you are looking to work in cybersecurity, doing this sort of stuff is going to end up with one of two things happening. You will either end up going to prison, or you will end up creating a reputation for being a moron and make yourself unemployable. So don't do it. If you think it's clever, you're a fool. Right, that's all from me for today. Enough ranting and forthright opinion.